Hello and welcome to The Insider, a show designed to clue you into the biggest news, events and announcements inside the video games industry, discussing with you some things you may know, some things you may not, and the glue that holds it all together is a little bit of my own opinion. My name is Paul James, thank you very much for watching, and let's get off with our episode. So it came to light recently that Nintendo has filed a very interesting patent. In that patent, it shows that Nintendo have created a system that allows for multiple Switch-like, but potentially just tablet for the sake of this concept, like devices connecting together, not necessarily physically latching on together, but connecting together and providing the players who've got those tablets with competitive, collaborative, cooperative, multiplayer experiences based on their proximity. It was a really interesting concept and it's fueled this week's topic of The Insider. So please come along for the ride as we discuss it. Now I think it's quite important before we go any further to preface a very simple thing. Patents are filed by companies all across the world all the time, and you'd have to think that 80 to 90% of those patents, perhaps even more, don't actually become anything. It's just the companies logging these details, logging that we designed this is our idea, and so that if anyone else kind of uses it somewhere down the line, then they can say, look, they can hold the paperwork and wave it around. This does not mean that Nintendo is going to follow through on this, but it is a really interesting concept, and like I said, it's fueled this week's episode of The Insider. It's fueled a lot of conversation. We're going to pick that up and run with it next. So what does this patent actually show us? Well, what it shows is these tablet-like devices, and let's just, for the sake of what we're going with here, let's think of them as switches. These tablet-like devices connecting and orienting in a range of different ways, and it's allowing players to solve basic puzzles or perform certain tasks together that could only be achieved when you're using someone else right there with their device with you. It's a really interesting concept. These devices can be daisy chained, so you can have more than one if you want, and there may not be a limit to the number of devices you can connect, who knows, and they didn't have to be latched together. You could have a degree of separation. How far that is, that remains to be seen. That's probably something that's not actually been identified by Nintendo when they were designing this concept, because it is purely a concept. But we're going to discuss where this is all heading next. There's evidence that shows that Nintendo has been stewing on a concept like this for quite a while. The first reported sort of scenario of this was when the Wii U was first demonstrated all those years ago, and it showed someone standing there playing golf, standing over the top of a gamepad. They would swing their arms with a Wii remote at the time. They would swing their arms, the ball would leave the screen of the tablet, the Wii U tablet, and it would then be transferred over to the screen that you were looking at, your big screen, your television or projector or whatever happens to be, and you would then see the ball's trajectory. That never actually became anything when it came to the Wii U. The Wii U never really became anything. But it was the first sign that Nintendo was interested in concepts such as this. More recently, we've seen it in trailers and the lead up to Nintendo Labo. There is a simple little trailer that was released showing the workshop and a whole range of different features there. But there was a scene that goes for about 2 seconds, you can blink and miss it, where you see an operation performed on the screen, you swipe across the screen, and a little line starts to leave. And they show the two Joy-Cons set up below the two Switch displays, and as the little cursor progresses and leaves the screen, you could see the Joy-Cons talking to one another. The sensor bars, the IR sensors there, and all of a sudden you see this little that little bar that was moving across the screen suddenly progress onto the second screen. There's signs that Nintendo's been thinking about this for a long time. Will it happen with the Switch? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe the technology that they've kind of embedded in the Switch unit doesn't allow for this at the moment. But maybe a next generation Switch or a new generation console down the line will allow for something like this. And it's a really interesting concept for them to be exploring.
Flex your creativity and you may blow some minds while you're at it.
So what could this concept allow players to do? Well, there's some really basic ones around it. There's lots of puzzle-based sort of stuff that you could only be doing when you have another person. You could have basic competitive stuff. The first thing I saw when I saw that Joy-Con demo, that Labo demo, I thought about Pong. And I know that's a really old concept, but I thought about Pong and how you could be swiping one way with the screen and then the IR sensors do their job, or in the future the tablets do their job, and you can have people maybe not necessarily sitting right in front of one another, but maybe at opposite ends of the couch, for example, and they're firing away, trying to win. And it's a very simple concept, but it could be expanded incredibly going forward. And the next thing I thought about was the DS. The DS and the 3DS were massive for Nintendo. They've sold hundreds of thousands of units, millions of units around Australia and around the world. And the popularity really hasn't waned, even in spite of what's happened with the Switch lately. What I thought of initially was a cradle of sorts that would allow you to dock 2 Switch screens, and all of a sudden you've created yourself a 3DS-like thing, so you can have something being performed on the top screen and something else on the bottom screen. And it's a concept we've seen before, but Nintendo loves it. So why not potentially go there? I'd love to see some of those DS-style ideas being fleshed out, firstly in a higher resolution because the Switch can do it, but with the new features of the Switch, there's new things they can be doing with it. I also thought about the likes of Pikmin 3 from the Wii U, where we had one thing going on the tablet and another thing going on the screen if you were able to play using your television screen at the time. There were some really cool ideas that are being used in both the Wii U and the 3DS, and it seems like it's possible with this new technology that the Switch or its successor or whatever this becomes could implement some of those ideas once again. So that concludes another episode of The Insider. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider liking, sharing and subscribing. All those buttons are down below here, and that'll allow you to get access to weekly episodes of Patched, the Video Games Club, more of The Insider, a ton of Player 2 plays, the late game review, and a whole lot more. There's awesome stuff at our YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so you're alerted every single time a new video goes live. If you like written content, make sure to visit the website. That is player2.net.au, where you'll find reviews, previews, opinion pieces, news, features, the Player 2 Writer's Draft, and a whole lot more. There's some awesome stuff there contributed by some of the best talent in Australia, so please make sure to go and check it out. Patreon. We're on Patreon. We're providing stuff for you, for your dollars, I guess. You've supported us quite a lot so far. We're looking for a little bit more from you so that we can build what we're doing, so we can make what we're doing better for you. Please take a look at the website. It's patreon.com/player2au. Consider kicking in a few dollars. There are some great rewards, including exclusive episodes of Patched and The Insider, the Player 2 podcast. You can join it. Early access to a whole bunch of episodes and more. So please make sure to go and check it out. We've got some stuff there for you. We hope you enjoy it. For rolling updates, you'll find me at PaulJamesP2 on Twitter. The website you'll find at Player2au on Twitter. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. Get excited by Labo, by joint Joy-Cons, joint Switch units, a whole bunch of awesome stuff Nintendo's doing, and I'll see you later.